Welcome back to the Retire As You Desire show. Today's episode is going to be all about Social Security. Now, this is the most important part of any retirement income plan, whether you have Social Security or if you don't, because some people are excluded from it. But in today's episode, we're going to get into why this matters so much and why the plan is really the most important thing that you're going to do from a retirement income standpoint throughout your retirement years. So in today's show, let's really get into why we're going to go into a deep dive. Like, why is this so important? I've ran into this so many times throughout my career where people want to take Social Security early. They think the system's going to go broke. We're going to go into all these details today. So stay with us for the whole entire show. But for many people, this is the most important source of retirement income, and they are really dependent on their Social Security income. But I'm also going to break down for you some of the simplest ways that I know how to get your Social Security education up to par today. I'm going to really give you a deep dive as to how it's calculated. Most people have no clue how your Social Security income is actually calculated. But I actually had to do formulas for this when I got my retirement income certified professional designation. Doing the math for this has really stuck with me over the years. So it's fun to actually show people how this works. So today's episode is going to give you all of these details. And this is a really important part. If you're going to retire soon, most people graduate, and I want to get into this first. Most people graduate from a planning perspective. There's a ton of incredible financial advisors out there, so many of them who are fiduciaries. They do the right thing for their clients. I know a lot of them, but I want to make sure people know that a retirement income certified professional, this is someone who specializes in income planning in retirement, and this is what I've studied to become. You may want to graduate at some point in your planning stages to someone who is an RICP. The reason for this is, it's so crucial to have great people in your corner that specialize in retirement income planning. And Social Security is really the foundation for this. So we're going to go into this today. Now, throughout your retirement years, your income is going to be based on so many different factors. Inflation, how the markets are doing. But can you really depend on Social Security being there for the next 30, 40, maybe even 50 years of your life if you live a long and healthy life? We have to understand making smart decisions now is going to impact your Social Security benefits in the future, and we want to do things in the best way possible. So in the first segment, I want to focus in on how is your Social Security calculated. Most people have no clue how to do this unless you study for this. But in the United States, your Social Security income is based on a couple things. Number one is your lifetime earnings. At the age of which you start receiving benefits and other various factors. I'm going to work through a step-by-step explanation today on how your Social Security benefits work. Now, number one, this is the fun part. We have to calculate your average indexed monthly earnings. This is an AIME, basically. Your Social Security looks at your highest earning 35 years of work. Now, these earnings are indexed. They are indexed because they want to account for changes in the average wages over your time. So over time, if you've made more money, these things will get averaged in. And Social Security takes into consideration the sum of these indexed earnings for the top 35 working years of your career. So they're going to take 35 years, multiply that by 12 months, and that's going to give you 420 months. This is your primary working years. Now, step two, the Social Security Administration is going to apply the primary insurance amount. This is called PIA. So we have AIME and PIA. The PIA is a formula that is used to convert the AIME into a monthly benefit. Are you confused yet? This is where most people get lost, and I want you to stick with me for the whole entire show, and I'm going to help work through all these different ideas with you the whole entire show. So let's take a break here. The PIA, the primary insurance amount formula for 2024, there's going to be 3 bend points. The dollar amounts for these bend points change each year with your average wage levels. I know, this is super confusing. But for 2024, the PIA formula might look something like this. I'm going to be using the 2023 values as an example. It might actually be higher in 2024 due to inflation, which has been prevalent in the past 4 years. But 90% of the first $1,115 of AIME, and then you want to add 32% of AIME over $1,115 through $6,721. And then lastly, we want to add 15% of AIME over roughly $6,700. This is an adjustment for the age of your benefits. It's going to be changing depending on when you start to receive your retirement income from Social Security. Now, the full retirement age in 2024 is typically between 66 and 67 years, depending on your birth year. Your income is going to be dependent on your birth year. If you start your benefits before your full retirement age, they're reduced. So that means less income. But they're reduced by a certain percentage for each month before you start your full retirement age. So if you take your income at 65 versus 67, it's going to be reduced by those 24 months. It's a big deal. If you start your benefits after your full retirement age, they are increased by a certain percentage each month after your full retirement age. Now, I want to say something that's very important here. When you turn 70, and if you have not started your retirement income yet, you're going to have to start it at 70. That's when things begin if you've delayed everything. And then here's another fun fact about Social Security. If your full retirement age is 67, and if you wait till 70, you're going to receive an 8% increase every single year that you delay for your Social Security benefits. So that is a 24% increase on your income. And that is most likely only going to go up when you turn 70 because of the cost of living adjustments. And this is the next part that I want to really dive into, because this is an important part to help keep pace with inflation in retirement. If you're on a fixed income, your Social Security benefits are going to be adjusted annually. So this is going to help you keep pace with inflation on a different level. So there's changes in the cost of living, and the Social Security Administration, they measure this by the CPI-W, which is called the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. Did you get that? You taking notes? That's a long one, but we call it CPI-W. So if you're doing your homework and researching this, that's what you want to look up. So let's go through an example of how your Social Security income could be elevated in retirement. And I'm going to illustrate this process for you as well. Let's calculate your AIME, A-I-M-E. So let's say your top 35 earning years after all of your indexing is $1,575,000. So that's your total earnings over the 35 years. Now your AIME would be that $1,575,000. You want to divide that by 420 months, and that's going to give you $3,750. It's pretty simple math. Now, we need to apply the PIA formula. And based on the 2023 numbers, 90% of the first $1,115 is $1,003.50. 32% of the amount between $1,115 and $3,750 is going to give you $843.20. So your total PIA is $1,846.70. Now we need to adjust for your age. Your full retirement age, let's say it's 67, but you choose to start your benefits at 62, your benefits might be reduced by about roughly 30%. It's a big deal. So in that scenario, your reduced PIA is going to be a little bit under $1,300 a month. That's a massive difference every single month, every single year for the rest of your life. And then you want to take into consideration the cost of living adjustments. This is where each benefit is going to be affected each year for the rest of your life. Stay tuned. After this break, I'm going to go into the cost of living adjustments and why it's so important to potentially delay your Social Security to get you higher income, but also understand how these cost of living adjustments are going to affect your retirement income for the rest of your life. Stay tuned to the Retire As You Desire show. And your Social Security income opportunities here are super important because inflation could erode your dollars if they're not invested and if they're just sitting in a bank account not making money. So here's a detailed look